There we go. Good evening, everybody. Anybody who's online. I hope I did this correctly now and haven't messed this up. My name is Joanna Godwin-Seidl. I'm going to invite some people onto this reading. And I am your host tonight for this reading of 1001 Nights. Give me just 2 seconds and I will invite a couple of groups on and see if anybody joins us. Because I think I still know how to do this. More options, that was it. Share to a group. We're getting very good at this, people. Give me 2 more seconds and I will be with you. I'm just going to share to 2 more groups and then let's just go for it. Let's see what happens. Et voilà. So thank you, Kenya. So the music that you just heard was the beautiful music of Kamyab Sadiri. Welcome back, everybody. I won't speak too long. For those of you who tried to see us, I know Samantha's already mentioned it. I'm sure she has, but for those of you who tried to see us 2 weeks ago, it really was very unfortunate. We had an incident like we just had literally half an hour ago here in Vienna where the water came down like a sheet and the trees were waving around all over the place. So our open air live reading could not take place, but we are working towards, hi Shaker, we are looking, and I hope I said that right, apologies if I didn't, we are looking towards getting another night organized, so watch this space. If it doesn't happen with Kultur Sommer, then it'll definitely happen sometime. Let's get my little Aladdin's lamp in there. It'll definitely happen sometime, somewhere, very, very soon. So 2 things happened to me today. Randomly, I got out my very beautiful book, Faces of Love, which I also bought after we gave away this book very kindly with the help of the Shakespeare Bookshop and Company in Vienna. Donated part of this book, and then I bought it as well because it's so beautiful. It's by Hafez, Faces of Love. And what I did is I just randomly opened a page to find a poem, and this poem is by Shakan Malak, and my eyesight has gone so bad since this lockdown. Kutun, and I hope I said that right. And I just discovered this very beautiful poem, so I am going to read this to you before we start our reading of 1001 Nights. My name is Joanna Godwin-Seidl, and you are very welcome, and I'm very glad you're joining us this evening. I am still drunk that you were here, and you are mine. And once again, I stretch my hand out for that wine. As your drunk eyes could not bestir themselves, I too can't move. As you love wine, I love the wine that's you. And I will ask the gentle morning breeze to bear a message to my love who has such musky hair. Since that black hair's sweet scent from being next to me has made me like a musk deer come from Tartary. I fainted when you were not here. I could not stand. But with me now, my love supports me. Grasp my hand. Is that beautiful? That is one of the poems from a book called The Faces of Love, and it's Hafez and the Poets of the Shiraz. And again, this was Jahan, and I do apologize if I say this wrong, Malek Khotun. I think that's how it said. I'm going to the optician's tomorrow to get my eyes tested, unfortunately. So, now we're on to the book of 1001 Nights. I'm going to close the music off so that I can concentrate. We were on the 461st night. And I really hope that's correct. You know what? I'm just going to check this very quickly because I haven't been on. I was in a real rush to get to this reading today. And I just need to double check that I'm not going to read something that some man has already read. No. Absolutely perfect. Excellent. So there we go. Now when it was the 461st night, Scheherazade said, "It has reached me, O auspicious king. When the damsel was playing chess with the expert in presence of the commander of the faithful, Harun al-Rashid, whatever move he made was speedily countered by her, till she beat him, and he found himself checkmated. Quoth he, I did but lead thee on, that thou mightest think thyself skilful, but set up again, and thou shalt see. So they placed the pieces a second time, when he said in himself, Open thy eyes, or she will beat thee. And he fell to moving no piece, save after calculation, and ceased not to play, till she said, Thy king is dead, checkmate. When he saw this, he was confounded at her quickness and understanding. But she laughed and said, O Professor, I will make a wager with thee on this third game. I will give thee the queen and the right-hand castle and the left-hand knight. If thou beat me, take my clothes, and if I beat thee, I will take your clothes. Replied he, I agree to this. And they replaced the pieces, she removing the queen, castle, and knight. Then said she, Move, O master. So he moved, saying to himself, I cannot but beat her with such odds, and planned a combination. But, behold, she moved on, little by little, till she made one of her pawns a queen, and pushing up to him pawns and other pieces to take off his attention, set one in his way and tempted him to take it. Accordingly, he took it. And she said to him, The measure is meted, and the loads equally balanced. Eat till thou art overfull, naught shall be thy ruin, O son of Adam, save thy greed. Knowest thou not that I did but tempt thee, that I might finesse thee? See, this is a checkmate. Adding, so doff off thy clothes. Quoth he, leave me my bag trousers, so Allah repay thee. And he swore by Allah that he would contend with none so long as Tawaddud abode in the realm of Baghdad. Then he stripped off his clothes and gave them to her and went away. Thereupon came the backgammon player, and she said to him, "If I beat thee this day, what wilt thou give me?" Quoth he, "Well, I will give thee 10 suits of brocade of Constantinople figured with gold, and 10 suits of velvet, and 1,000 gold pieces. And if I beat thee, I ask nothing but thou write me an acknowledgement of my victory." Quoth she, "To it then, and do thy best." So they played, and he lost and went away, chattering in Frankish jargon and saying, "By the bounty of the commander of the faithful, there is not her like in all the regions of the world." Then the Caliph summoned players on instruments of music and asked her, "Dost thou know aught of music?" When she answered, "Even so," he bade bring a worn lute polished by use, whose owner forlorn and lone was by parting trodden down, and of which, quoth one, describing it, "Allah watered a land, and upsprang a tree, struck root deep down, and raised head a sky. The birds, O sang it when green its wood, and the fair, O sing, now the wood is dry." So they brought the lute in a bag of red satin, with tassels of saffron-coloured silk. And she opened the bag and took it out, and behold, on it was graven, "Oft hath a tender bough made lute for maid, whose swift sweet lays at feast men's hearts invade. She sings, it follows on her song as though the bulbuls taught her all the modes she played." She laid her lute in her lap, and with bosom inclining over it, bent to it with the bending of a mother who suckleth a child. Then she preluded in 12 different modes, till the whole assembly was agitated with delight, like a waving sea, and she sang the following: "Cut short this strangeness, leave unruth of you. My heart shall love you I by youth of you. Have ruth on one who sighs and weeps and moans, pining and yearning for the troth of you." The Caliph was ravished and exclaimed, "Allah bless thee and be merciful to him who taught thee." Whereupon she rose and kissed the ground before him. Then he went for the money and paid her master, Al-Husn, 100,000 gold pieces to her price, after which he said to her, "O Tawaddud, ask a boon of me." Replied she, "I ask of thee that thou restore me to my lord who sold me." "'Tis well," answered the Caliph, and restored her to her master, and gave her 5,000 dinars for herself. Moreover, he appointed Al-Husn, one of his cup companions, for permanence. And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of day and ceased saying her permitted say. Now, when it was the 462nd night, she said, "It has reached me, O auspicious king, that the caliph gave the damsel 5,000 dinars for herself and restored her to a master whom he appointed one of his cup companions for a permanence and assigned him with a monthly stipend of 1,000 dinars so long as he should live. And he abode with the damsel Tawaddud in all solace and delight of life. Marvel then, O king, at the eloquence of this damsel, and the hugeness of her learning and understanding, and her perfect excellence in all branches of art and science. And consider the generosity of the commander of the faithful, Harun al-Rashid, in that he gave her master this money and said to her, 'Ask a boon of me.' And she besought him to restore her to her lord. So he restored her to him and gave her 5,000 dinars for herself and made him one of her boon companions. Where is such generosity to be found after the Abbasid caliphs? May Allah Almighty have mercy upon them, one and all." And they tell the tale of the angel of death with the proud king and the devout man. It is related, O auspicious king, that one of the olden monarchs was once minded to ride out in state with the officers of his realm and the grandees of his retinue, and display to the folk the marvels of his magnificence. So he ordered his lords and emirs, equip them therefore, and commanded his keeper of the wardrobe to bring him of the richest of raiment, such as befitted the king in his state. And he bade them bring his steeds of the finest breeds and pedigrees every man heeds. Which being done, he chose out of the raiment what rejoiced him most, and of the horse that which he deemed the best. And donning the clothes, together with the collar set with marguerites and rubies and all manner of jewels, mounted and set forth in state, making his destrier prance and curvet among his troops, and glorying in his pride and despotic power. And Iblis came to him, and laying his hand upon his nose, blew into his nostrils the breath of hauteur and conceit, so that he magnified and glorified himself, and said in his heart, "Who among men is as like unto me?" And he became so puffed up with arrogance and self-sufficiency, and so taken up with the thought of his own splendour and magnificence, that he would not vouchsafe a glance to any man. Presently there stood before him one clad in tattered clothes, and saluted him. But he returned not his salam. Whereupon the stranger laid hold of his horse's bridle. "Lift thy hand," cried the king. "Thou knowest not whose bridle rein it is whereof thou takest hold." Quoth the other, "I have a need of thee." Quoth the king, "Wait till I alight, and then name thy need." Rejoined the stranger, "It is a secret, and I will not tell it, but in thine ear." So the king bowed his head to him, and he said, "I am the angel of death." and I purpose to take thy soul. Replied the king, well, have patience with me a little whilst I return to my house and take leave of my people and children and neighbours and wife. By no means so, answered the angel. Thou shalt never return, nor look on them again, for the fated terms of thy life is past. So saying, he took the soul of the king, who fell off his horse's back, dead, and departed thence. Presently, the angel of death met a devout man, of whom Almighty Allah had accepted and saluted him. He returned the salute, and the angel said to him, O pious man, I have need of thee, which must be kept secret. Tell it in my ear, quoth the devotee. And quoth the other, I am the angel of death. Replied the man, Welcome to thee, and I praise be Allah for thy coming. I am aweary of waiting thine arrival, for indeed long hath been thine absence from the lover, which longeth for thee. Said the angel, If thou hast any business, make an end of it. But the other answered, saying, There is nothing so urgent to me as the meeting with my Lord, to whom be honour and glory. Said the angel, How wouldst thou fain have me take thy soul? I am bidden to take it as thou willest and choosest. He replied, Tarry till I make the wuzu ablution and pray, and when I prostrate myself, then take my soul while my body is on the ground. Quoth the angel, Verily, my Lord, be he extolled and exalted, commanded me not to take thy soul, but with thy consent, and as thou shouldst wish, so I will do thy will. Then the devout man made the minor ablution and prayed, and the angel of death took his soul in the act of prostration, and Almighty Allah transported it to the place of mercy and acceptance and forgiveness. And they tell another tale of the angel of death and the rich king. A certain king had heaped up coin beyond count and gathered store of all precious things which Allah the Most Highest hath created. So, in order that he might take his pleasure, whenas he should find leisure to enjoy all this abounding wealth he had collected, he built him a palace, wide and lofty, such as besitteth and beseemeth kings, and set thereto strong doors, and appointed for its service and its guards servants and soldiers and doorkeepers to watch and ward. One day, he bade the cooks dress him somewhat of the goodliest of food, and assembled his household and retainers and boon companions and servants to eat with him, and partake of his bounty. Then he sat down upon the sofa of his kingship and dominion, and propping his elbow upon the cushion, addressed himself, saying, O soul, thou hast gathered together all the wealth of the world, so now take thy leisure therein, and eat of this good at thine ease in long life and prosperity ever rife. And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of day, and ceased saying her permitted say. Let's see how much further this goes on. One more night. Now, when it was the 463rd night, She said, "It hath reached me, O auspicious king, that hardly had the king made an end of the saying." Excuse me, I'm just going to get a tissue quickly. I do apologise. So, we'll start this night again. I do apologise, everybody. Now, when it was the 463rd night, she said, "It hath reached me, O auspicious king, that hardly had the king made an end of saying to himself, 'Eat of this weal at thine ease in long life and prosperity ever rife,' when a man, clad in tattered raiment, with an asker's wallet hanging at his neck, as he were one who came to beg food, knocked with adoring a knock so loud and terrible that the whole palace shook as with quake of earth, and the king's throne trembled. The servants were affrighted and rushed to the door, and when they saw the man who had knocked, they cried out at him, saying, 'Woe to thee! What manner of unmannerly fashion be this? Wait till the king eateth, and we will then give thee of what is left.' Quoth he, 'Tell your lord to come out and speak with me, for I have of him a pressing need and a matter to heed.' They cried, 'Away, fool! Who art thou that we should bid our lord come forth to thee?' But he said, 'Tell him of this.' So they went in and told the king, who said, 'Well, did you not rebuke him and draw upon him and threaten him?' Now, as he spoke, behold, there came another knock at the gate, louder than the first knock, whereupon the servants sprang at the stranger with staves and weapons to fall upon him and slay him. But he shouted at them, saying, 'Bide in your steeds, for I am the angel of death.' Hereat their hearts quaked, and their wits forsook them. Their understandings were in confusion, their side muscles quivered in perturbation, and their limbs lost the power of motion. Then said the king to them, 'Tell him to take a substitute in my place, and one to relieve me in this case.' But the angel answered, saying, 'I will take no substitute, and I come not but on thine account, to cause separation between thee and the goods thou hast gathered together, and the richest thou hast heaped up and treasured.' When the king heard this, he wept and groaned, saying, 'Allah curse the treasure which hath deluded and undone me and diverted me from the service of my Lord. I deemed it would profit me, but today it is a regret for me and a calamity to me. And behold, I go forth empty-handed of it, and leave it to my foes.' Thereupon Allah caused the treasure to speak out, and it said, 'Wherefore cursest thou me? Curse thyself, for Allah created me, and eke thyself of the dust, and appointed me to be thine hand, that thou mightest provide thee with me a viaticum for the next world, and give alms of me to the poor and the needy and the sick, and build mosques and hospices and bridges and aqueducts. so might I be an aidance unto thee in the world to come. But thou didst garner me, and hoard me up, and on thine own vanities bestowest me. Neither gavest thou thanks for me, as was due, but wast ungrateful to me. And now thou must leave me to thy foes, and thou hast naught save thy regretting and thy repenting. But where is my sin, that thou shouldst revile me? Then the angel of death took the king's soul as he sat on his throne before he ate of the food, and he fell down dead. Quoth Allah Almighty, while they were rejoicing for that which had been given them, we suddenly laid hold on them, and behold, they were seized with despair. And they tell another tale of the angel of death and the king of the children of Israel. There was a puissant despot among the kings of Banu Israel, who sat one day upon the throne of his kingship, when he saw come into him by the gate of the hall a man of forbidding aspect and horrible presence. The king was affrighted at his sudden intrusion, and he looked terrified at him. So he sprang up before him and said, "Who art thou, O man? Who gave thee leave to come into me, and who invited thee to enter my house?" Quoth the stranger, "Verily, the Lord of the house sent me to thee, nor can any doorkeeper exclude me, nor need I leave to come in to kings. For I reck not of a sultan's majesty, neither of the multitude of his guards. I am he from whom no tyrant is at rest, nor can any man escape from my grasp. I am the destroyer of delights and the sunderer of societies." Now, when the king heard this, a palsy crept over him, and he fell on his face in a swoon. But presently, coming to himself, he asked, "Art thou then the angel of death?" And the stranger answered, "Yes." "I conjure thee, by Allah," quoth the king, "grant me one single day's respite, that I may pray pardon of my sins and ask absolution of my Lord, and restore to their rightful owners the monies which are in my treasurers, so I may not be burdened with the woe of a reckoning, nor with the misery of punishment thereof." Replied the angel, "Well away, well away. This may be in no way." And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of day and ceased saying her permitted say. So everybody, it's incredible. I don't know if you see I'm welting here. Hi Dunya, hi David, hi Murin, hi everybody who's joined us. It's very lovely to see you this evening. It is absolutely sweltering hot in this room. I cannot tell you, the whole day, the whole of Vienna has been like a furnace somehow. Then we had this huge downpour, and the huge downpour has caused warm damp to rise off the ground, and it's a sweltering evening here in Vienna. So on that very beautiful note, I am going to love you and leave you again as usual. Saman will be back with you tomorrow evening. I will be with you on Friday night. We hope very, very much. We are at the very top of the list to get another live reading at a live event on the Kultursommer. Of course, we don't wish that anybody has to drop out, But should they, we really, really do hope that we get the opportunity to read to you on a live stage with some very, very beautiful Indian temple dance, a very lovely Palestinian poem. It is, when we did the rehearsals, it was so, so beautiful to listen to this beautiful poem read in Arabic with Persian music supporting it underneath as Kamyab played his tar and just improvised away to the poem. It was very, very beautiful. And of course, Bijan joining him on guitar and both of them singing. So we hope we do get the opportunity to give you that. And again, if it doesn't happen in Kultursommer, I'm going to be like a shower soon. If it doesn't happen in Kultursommer, then we will bring it to a live stage. We have already talked about definitely wanting to do that somewhere else. Without further ado, I will wish you all many, many blessings. It was an absolute pleasure after 2 weeks to be able to read to you again. Very good night. Have a great day tomorrow. Have a great day all of your Friday, and I will hopefully see you Friday evening. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.